The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a Primal Lifestyle. With your hosts, Nico and Ellen Haan. Now, Nico and Ellen Haan.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning, I'm Ellen Haan.
And it's a beautiful morning in St. Petersburg, 77 degrees and muggy, actually, kind of cloudy. And yeah, that's the way it is here. I'd like to remind you to pick up our Health Signals newsletter. Got a new one coming out in a couple of days. Got it all ready to go here. And of course, our Primal Edge.
Yeah, and you can reach us at, call in at 877-927-6648. And I'm at Ellen at TFNN.com.
And Nico at TFNN.com. Yeah, I forgot about those emails. Didn't mention them too much. Yeah, pick up the Primal Edge, folks. It's $89 a month, and you get it on your doorstep every single month. And this is really going to help you get over this virus. I want to talk a little bit about the virus this morning, but it's I don't want to go over the numbers. I think it's getting too much. Yeah. Too much shock and awe, you might say. But, you know, one of the things that we're learning is that, first of all, if you've got some kind of underlying disease, then it's probably going to impact you negatively. And for most of us, it probably won't at all. But some of the things that they're talking about as far as what it's impacting, what kind of diseases, most of it's like hypertension, it's also heart disease.
Anything with the respiratory system.
Yeah, and diabetes is another one, especially type 2 diabetes, because that's the later onset diabetes. If you're already born with diabetes, it doesn't seem to impact you quite as much. So if you've got one of those underlying things going on, then you really have to pay attention. The rest of us, not so much, I think. Some of the things we're learning is that the testing, and this comes from several different sources that we have listened to, that they're really testing for generic COVID viruses, not so much specific to 19, because you almost have to
Generic?
Yeah, more generic.
Just, so what do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is that there's COVID-1, there's the MERS, which comes out of the Middle East, and the common cold, which is also a coronavirus. So all these coronaviruses, if you had them in the past, it's likely that this test is going to pick that up and make you positive for it. So it's very hard to segregate out the 19 unless you're taking blood and you're looking in through a lab. That's the explanation that I got from it. So the tests really aren't that accurate. And then, of course, if you're not testing everybody, then the numbers completely are off, because then you're just talking about the numbers are kind of fictitious, because what are you comparing it to?
Well,
How many, just the number of people that are testing. So you don't know how many people actually are positive to COVID-19 or any other COVID, I guess. So it gets very confusing. I don't really believe the numbers too much. They don't seem to be that high when you're looking at, you know, the additional deaths. It seems like in February of 2019 and 2018, the numbers are about the same as people dying from anything. So it really hasn't risen too much, it seems to me.
Yeah, we were doing some research, and it was quite interesting because it talked about the deaths from all kinds of causes, and really, as one article was screaming, you know, biggest cause of death in the United States, and,
right,
and massive deaths. But when we looked at the statistics, we saw things like heart disease was actually the number one, and cancer was the number two.
Right. Auto accidents are up there too.
And auto accidents.
Not so much today, I would think.
Accidents were 3,
Yeah.
right? And certainly, and COVID was down the list a bit.
Yeah.
And by you know, tens of thousands lower than the others.
That's right. One of the things I wanted to kind of talk about too is herd immunity, because herd immunity is usually associated. Herd.
H-E-R-D?
H-E-R-D, like
Okay.
a herd of people.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think I have something on here on the telestrator I can put up. Let me just get to that first of all. Yeah, here it is here. And this is just Wikipedia. And of course, the idea of the herd immunity, it goes kind of like this, and they usually talk about it with the immunization program. So if you've got enough people immunized, then kind of herd immunity takes over, and whatever we slough off our bodies and give to somebody else, that's the immunity being passed on. Now remember, Ellen, in the old days, people used to go to parties for the measles and parties for the chicken pox.
Have all the kids in the neighborhood come over.
Yeah, if one of the kids had it, then everybody would come over, and because it would slough off onto them and would give them, if you've never had the measles, you would get the measles, and it'd probably be no big deal over in a week, and then you're immunized. But also the older people would be getting a kind of booster shot. And this is important because if you look at chicken pox, there is another disease called shingles, which happens in later life. If you've had chicken pox, this can manifest.
Once the virus is in your system.
Once it's in your system. So it's kind of like a herpes type of virus that is always there. And in later life, when your immune system goes down, all of a sudden you get shingles, which is a kind of worse than chicken pox is. And now that people are immunized with chicken pox, we don't have those parties anymore. Nobody gets together. So there's no herd immunity in that sense going on. And that's important because now the older people don't get that booster shot, and now all of a sudden you may end up with the what is it?
Being susceptible.
Being susceptible, and shingles is painful. It's the spine, it goes along your spine. Yeah. But there's another herd immunity, which is the kind of the natural thing. In other words, a disease comes in like a virus, say like this one, and everybody kind of gets it. It goes through really fast, and then we're all okay.
Then it's done.
So is it better to do that? And I'm thinking with this one, maybe not, because it is more contagious, but also it's accumulative. The doctors are saying they're more susceptible because they get over and over and over again exposure, and it's accumulating. So this is different than the cold, because if you have a cold and somebody comes in and doesn't have a cold, you give it to them. But then they go to somebody else, and so they have a cold. It doesn't stack up the same way. So that's something to kind of be concerned about. So, what do? We do the best we can. I think the thing to do is boost our own immune system.
Right.
And we've always talked that if we're going to boost our own immune system, you've got to do it with food first. That's the first underlying thing that makes it better, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So us being on a paleo or primal style diet, these kind of things really help because we're fat adapted, and we're not using carbohydrates to fuel our self.
Yeah, and then we're not building up sugar in our systems and giving food for whatever virus comes along.
That's right.
Yeah.
And these things seem to attach to that. So that really makes quite a difference, I think. So when we get back, I want to talk about some ways we can boost that immune system and see if that can help us. But we're feeling pretty good, aren't we? Yes, we are. Okay.
Yes, we are.
So please stick around, folks. I'd like to remind you, first of all, to pick up the Primal Edge. Do that, and then go check out the newsletter. $10 a month gets you both issues. And Ellen and I will be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back. Number here is 877-927-6648. And we're reading from this article we saw the other day, the ultimate immunity biohack, recovering your leptin function with food. And leptin is one of those hormones, kind of like insulin, that gives us the signal that we're satisfied with what we're doing. And everybody's using these kind of terms, hack and biohack.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what a biohack was, and so, I mean, I heard it used a lot, so I decided to look it up, and turns out nobody actually really knows what it means, you know, but it's one of those things, you know it when you see it. But basically what I got from it was that a biohack is a step that you take to improve your body's function.
A biohack,
in some way, the biology hack. Usually, sometimes hack is a negative term. In this case, it's a positive term. It's a way of fine-tuning your engine, as it were.
Yeah, and of course, hack came out of the computer age where you're hacking things, but it was used in food first in the paleo-style diet. I think maybe the bulletproof guy, Dave Osprey, first used it because he came up with the bulletproof coffee. And the reason we have to hack our lives, kind of, is because we're no longer living off the land. We're no longer hunting and fishing and getting our food from nature. We're getting it from stores fixed by somebody else. We even don't know the people. If we're lucky, we know the people, but we usually don't. So now we have to, because the food and the nutrients aren't there, we have to hack the food to put the nutrients back in, and that's kind of the sense.
We have to actually find the things that work for our bodies. That's the hack.
That's right. And the hack in the bulletproof coffee was adding MCT oil or butter or cream, which was getting the fat in there to stabilize that coffee and make it last longer, and also to not signal this hormone we're talking about, leptin. Leptin is the signal that says either you're hungry or not. So if it's not activated, you're not hungry. Right. Or, I mean, you are hungry.
You want to
activate it.
Build it to a place where it works as it's supposed to work.
That's right. You eat something and it says, "Oh, this is good. I'm satisfied. I don't need any more." Instead of having a bag of chips in front of the TV and you can't stop eating no matter what. You may have eaten the other bag. And you're still eating because leptin is never signaling your body saying, "Hey, wait a minute, you're okay, you're going to survive."
Stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I remember when we first learned about, we started exploring the primal diet the whatever
Yeah,
we're
like
calling
11
it.
years ago.
It was 11 years ago, yeah. And your sister had been doing some research, and she had. So we were at her house for Thanksgiving, and
She
she
gave me the
started.
book.
And she gave you the book.
Yeah.
Was it
The Primal...
Apple?
No, it was the Primal Blueprint.
Oh, the
by,
Primal Blueprint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the doctor. I forget his name now.
Yeah, but so I remember vividly sitting there thinking, well, we just stocked up on whole grain cereal. We got 5 boxes of them in the cabinet, and now you're going to say we're going no more carbs. That's it. We're
Yeah.
done. So I'm
I did
thinking,
that,
oh goody, we got 5 boxes of cereal. But we talked about just doing it for 10 days, see what happens. Right. So we did it for 10. I
Yeah,
thought,
so we
well,
took all this. We did do the big step is taking all those grains and putting it into boxes. And I don't think we gave it away right away, but later on we did because we never went back.
Yeah, I remember thinking I can do anything for 10 days. And I remember when I first started talking about the diet and its effects on me, I would say to people, try it for 10 days. You can do anything for 10 days. You know, and so what happened after 10 days? Well, the first thing I noticed is that I went down 2 belt notches.
Yep.
Because here I was poisoning myself with the gluten in the cereal, not knowing that I was sensitive to it, and bloating, and 2 belt notches.
Yeah.
That's in 10 days. That
Yeah.
was it. So.
And the other thing that happened too is we definitely went full bore. We just cut out the carbs completely except for some vegetables. And we really started looking at the quality of the protein we were eating, the meat.
Yeah, that's right.
And we searched, and at that time, the health food stores were not even really full bore into this healthy thinking. We had to go to U.S. Wellness Meats, White Pastures, people out of town, and of course, this stuff comes frozen and everything like that. So that was a whole different experience, but slowly but surely, we started finding our health food stores started supplying better grass-fed meats and things like that. And then more stores started opening up. So this 11-year journey has really changed our minds on things. And then wasn't it the last few years that we'd really cut out most of the vegetables too?
Yeah, but we also discovered that, you know, they say you are what you eat. Well, animals are what they eat too. And if it could be a grass-fed beef that wasn't grass-finished, it was grain-finished.
Right.
Then you were getting the grain
Still.
in the meat.
Not as much.
So we had to start culling out those things and finding.
Yeah, because the market down the road was said grass-fed meat, but they didn't finish it with grass. They fed it with, and the reason they do this, folks, is because when the grain makes them fatter, and so when the cow weighs more, you're going to, of course,
get
have
more in market.
Exactly. So that's that. And of course, the A1 and the A2 cows are 2 different breeds, and we have the A1 in America. And the reason they chose that, it produces milk faster and grows faster. So that's really started me thinking on the path of, well, these people are just after the money. They're producing this food in such a way to make the most profit. Nothing to do with health. Again,
Right.
you know, there's this thing, the money comes first and everything else is secondary, and that means our health is secondary. So that really brought us into really doing much more research. Of course, I was doing the show at that time, and I met Paige Clark, and she's been on the show for years, and that was a great experience because then we could actually have a conversation, and that's why I have you here now, is because we can have this conversation.
That's one of the many reasons.
No doubt about that. That's for sure. So leptin is the signaling process that happens in your body. We're not going to go over this whole thing, but I just want you to know.
Well, just one sentence here.
Sure.
Leptin is the body's master hormone that literally regulates human immune function, and it activates the natural killer cells. And poor leptin function is a challenge to your proper immune system. So leptin is an important part of your entire body process.
Yeah, because everybody's leptin optimizing fat, carb, and protein ratios will be slightly different. The best way to go about it is try this on your own. Trying this on your own is to very gradually cut carbs and increase the wide variety of quality plants and animal fats, always grass-fed, until you experience the classic symptoms of leptin sensitivity: a sudden, concurrent drop in appetite, loss of excess inflammation-related fluid. There's your drop in your
Right.
2 notches. The clearing of brain fog, the deepening of sleep, and elevation and evening out of energy and normalizing your weight, even if you're underweight.
Yeah, it's amazing how the system works.
Yeah, so that's the system that we've been talking about, and whether you're talking about primal food, paleo food, whether you're talking about fat adapted or the ketone diet. And remember, ketone diet is this similar diet, only what you're doing is actually measuring the ketones. So you know what's going on. We never really did that because we know how we feel.
Well, the other thing I was doing
We're on a
when I
break.
was having
Let's stop for the break, and we'll be right back, folks.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back.
Come back. Yeah, I found an interesting article on gaslighting. And gaslighting is the concept of making you think you're crazy when in fact you're not. And that's just sort of the general concept, but it's being used in the context of all the information that's available regarding the COVID-19, all the information regarding the need to self-isolate, the need to, everybody working from home, all the people out of work, all of the places that are closed, what is really going to happen when we get back to normal?
Yeah, well, I text my son David this morning, and he said he was going back to work, and he works. He's a controller in a BMW dealership in Michigan, and I didn't know they were letting people back to work, but that's a good sign.
Michigan had been a hot spot
Yeah.
a couple weeks before we were. So.
And I was talking to Randy from Jiu-Jitsu, guy who owns our Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Baja Clearwater, and he says, we want to go back May 1st, you know, we want to start rolling again. And I said, yeah, this is, I mean...
Well, the question is, what's really going on? And nobody knows, but people in the healthcare industry are saying the hospitals aren't full, that we're not overrun with COVID patients.
And yesterday I had a conversation with Doc from Jiu-Jitsu, and Doc is a pathology doctor.
Dermatologist.
Yeah, and he has talked to a lot of doctors, and everybody thinks there's nothing going on here. You know, hospitals are not impacted that much. Yeah, they're impacted a little bit more, but remember that the hospitals in America run on 90% efficiency. So just at 10%, and you're at maximum, 10% Excel. So, and plus they're preparing, you know, they've got to prepare for all these tests and all these things they have to do extra that they didn't have to be doing before.
Well, and they're also saying some of the materials that we've been reviewing have talked about that there is no test that is reliable.
Right.
I mean, if you're taking your temperature, well, you could have a temperature for a million reasons, and people do.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a test, how are you going to make you don't even have a test. So how are we going to end up with a vaccine is an interesting question.
That's true.
But there were articles about closing up the triage centers that had been opened up, you know, in contemplation of...
Well, that Army unit that was in Oregon or Washington.
Seattle, yeah.
Or Seattle, yeah.
Washington area.
And apparently nobody ever came, and they had to close it down after 9 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we listen to Suspect Guy, and I recommend on YouTube, Suspect Guy has a conversation every week for the last 4 weeks on this and related facts, and they bring out a lot of types of things that you don't hear on the mainstream media. And, you know, some of the things like maybe tattooing kids, you know, so they can go back to school. You put a little tattoo on here, and I think the guy from Microsoft, Gates, is behind this. And it's kind of funny, Gates has always been saying we need less population. If we want our planet to be healthy, there's too many people. And now he's talking about doing, first of all, the testing, and the second of all, he's given millions and millions of dollars to the CDC and also to the World Health Association. Of course, we know he's being financed by lots of pharmaceuticals, things. So there's a lot of things going on here that may not be up above board, I would say. He's pushing vaccines. In fact, they're also talking about coming up with a health card, some kind. So either you've had the COVID-19, and if you haven't, you have your shot, and then you can go back to school, or you can go back to work, or you can get on a plane, or you can get out of the country. You know, and tagging your health to your movement in America sounds very un-American to me.
Well, they were talking, the tattoo that you were talking about was to identify kids who've been vaccinated.
They're right. And the tattoo is invisible until you shine the light on it, of course. Yeah.
And all of this is just conversation that people are having, and there's some level of conspiracy theory to it or whatever. I mean, people get very worried. But I think that the problem is once the camel's nose is in the tent, you know, what happens next?
Yeah, he goes forward.
Yeah, well, you know, or he backs out. But
well, also, if you look at Fauci, these people have been tagged into the health system for decades, and he is definitely invested into pharmaceuticals. So he's really a spokesman for pharmaceuticals. So
for vaccinations.
For vaccinations, again. So, you know, I mean, Trump said a long time ago this is something that would go away easily. He may have been right, but I think he's gotten a lot of pushbacks. And even though he might have been right, the way he goes about things is very disconcerting. It's just there's no fire in his soul when he talks about these things. There's only fire in the soul when he wants to get reelected, it seems like.
Well, let's not go there.
Okay. But I wanted to read this.
Talk for a second about the money that the hospital gets for a COVID?
Well, I've looked at several sources for this, and the numbers are different, but supposedly you get a certain amount for testing people. So if you test the person, you get like $13,000 or something like that.
Per patient.
Per patient, yeah. So if the test is positive and they are hospitalized, you get another $15,000 or $20,000. If they go into ICU and have to be put on a ventilator, you get another $30,000. So the full money that a hospital can get by having a COVID patient is about $60,000. And this comes out of the relief fund. So this is a big incentive for everything to be, I mean, if you are, there was one analogy made, you broke your leg, but you're coughing. So now if you happen to die, you're going to be a COVID patient or a COVID statistic. So I wanted to read this. What the crisis has given us is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see ourselves and our country in the plainest of views. At no other time, even in our lives, have we gotten the opportunity to see what would happen if the world simply stopped. Well, here it is, folks. We're in it. The stores are closed, restaurants are empty, streets and six-lane highways are barren. Even the planet itself is rattling less, and that's a true story. And because it's rarer than rare, it has brought us to light all the beautiful and painful truths of how we live. And this feels kind of weird, really weird, because it has never happened before. If we want to create a better country and a better world for our kids, and if we want to make sure we're even sustainable as a nation and as a democracy, we have to pay attention about how we feel right now. I cannot speak for you, but I imagine you feel like I do, devastated, depressed, and heartbroken. And that is the result, and that's what we're trying to overcome now, is trying to get some kind of normalcy in our lives. And we've managed pretty well, you and I.
Yes.
Because our routines haven't changed that much.
Yes.
I'm still seeing people.
Yes.
You're still doing your work. The only thing, the big thing that's missing for me is jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And the big thing that's missing for you is the actual physical contact with your clients and the people you work with.
Well, I spend a lot of time on the phone.
Yeah,
So
that's not the
and
same.
Zoom, and in fact, I'm going to explore teaching a class by Zoom and
Yeah.
see how that works out.
Yeah.
As a lot of good things will come out of this because we're learning new ways of doing things
Yeah.
and new opportunities and expanding our horizons a little bit.
Yeah. And really paying attention to being healthy and doing the breathing exercises and doing the saunas and all these things that we've been talking about for the past few weeks, and watching what you eat. Really important.
Yeah, and a lot of people making jokes about wearing a mask to keep you away from the refrigerator.
Yeah, I like that. Stick around, folks. We've got a lot more. I'd like to remind you, please pick up Primal Edge. Really important now because fulvic and humic acid are the things that can help you get over this. So stick around. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back. I'd like to start off with this section with a quote from Howard Thurman saying, "Don't worry about what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive."
Yeah, this whole process has gotten me thinking too about the health aspect and feeling young and looking young and acting young and having your body be healthy. More like you were when you were 40 than when you're 70, and talking about, and what I came to is people ask me all the time, you know, if I ever tell them how old I am, you know, my God, I don't believe it. How do you stay looking so young, you know? And so I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, all right, so I start with good genes, but you know what? Good genes, they're wonderful, but they're not everything. And if you don't have great genes, if there's a history in your family of disease or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can biohack that into better health.
Yep,
you can find ways to do that. So good genes are important, but also understanding that you're not defined by it. So it's not just nature, it's also nurture, and it's also taking on what you need to do to keep going and to be better.
That's for sure.
Be the best person you can.
Right. Because if you don't do that, I mean, then you're kind of an empty shell, and you're just going. It says in the article here, I didn't spend 2 years and $100,000 for a master's degree to go to work and hate it.
Right. And so you have to. So let's just quickly go through. You know what kinds of things are good and help with staying younger, and so good genes is one, and eating right. And maybe exercising, whatever you need to do to keep your body more balanced and your mind more balanced. You have to manage trauma and stress. The lines on our faces are a result of life climbing on. You know, the things that stress us out create the lines in our faces. And so it's showing physically what's going on internally or around us.
Yeah, and of course food, always the number one thing. Exercise, probably another thing. And exercise, I kind of equate it to living a primal lifestyle. Exercise we need is what we used to do to get our food and make our shelter. This is primarily, you know, along with all the, you know, the sex and the chasing when you were kids, running around and being in the environment, getting dirty, getting the dirt on you. And this is what's kind of missing when we're isolated, because we don't go outside as much, although I do see people outside more. But if you're closing the parks and all our national monuments and things, this is where all the good air is.
Yeah, well, and then we have our weekend warriors who are out on their bicycles and falling off and breaking their wrists and things like that. I mean, there is a downside to it, but you also have to be really comfortable. I love my life. I love you. I love our life together.
Yep.
I love our routines. I also love reading. I love writing. I love being in our house and sitting outside in the fresh air. I love our orchids. You know,
Little gnomes in the garden.
and the gnomes in the garden. Our yard is Florida friendly, and when I say Florida friendly, I mean you live, you die, you're on your own.
Yeah, that's right.
We're
We pretty
not-
much have, if the grass lives, that's fine. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, something else will grow there. As long as we cut it, it looks good. And actually, our yard looks beautiful.
Yeah, it
and
does.
the things that we've planted that we thought were kind of cool and never made it, we said, well, that's just the way it goes because we're not doing, we don't want to do too much extra. We want it to kind of live naturally.
Well, we also have issues with insects. We have issues with poison vines, and we have issues with too much sun. And my history of skin cancers and so on. And so we can't really spend a lot of time gardening, and we don't choose to. I mean, and really what it comes down to is making a choice, and it's a story that you tell yourself. So the other day I thought about it, and we've been using Zoom for the office, so I finally, after asking a few questions, I saw people had backgrounds on their Zoom cameras, and I thought, well, how do you do that? And so somebody mentioned, well, if you go down here and you click on this icon, whatever, and that didn't work out because we were on, it turns out when you're live, you can't do it. You have to do it when you're offline.
Right.
But then, so I just finally stopped telling myself the story of how I'm not really good at technology
And found a
and told
found a way.
myself the story of let's figure this out.
Yeah.
And I did, and I posted some photos from our trips and things, and so the next time somebody saw me, I had the Rocky Mountains behind me in
Pretty nice,
Colorado,
pretty
you know,
nice.
and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
And of course,
But-
that's from our last trip, and that's really fresh in our memories. And we're planning to go out there again.
yeah. And then I love my job and my career choice. And, you know, being a lawyer is something that most people would think would be maybe a little boring or no. And I'm not a litigation person. I'm not a fighter. I'm a problem solver. And so if I really made a business card, it would say Ellen Hirsch to Haan, problem solver and cat herder. Because I'm always trying to get
pretty
people,
much
people
what
to
it
go where you need them to go.
And that's important because when I was in sales training many, many years ago, that's one of the things I put on my card was problem solver. And when people saw my card, they go, oh, let's see if you are. You know,
Yeah.
they take a chance on you because at least you're putting it out there that you can solve their problems.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, and that's exactly what you do.
Well, the key is you don't tell somebody only what they can't do, but then you try and find something they can do.
Right, maybe a different way to find an answer to the problem. And in a sense, that's what I do when I'm, exercising people
That's
and
right.
showing them different techniques
That's
to
right.
solve their physical problem and
Yeah.
maybe some emotional problem too.
And your body's connected to your mind and your soul. There's no doubt about it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, but in
Yeah.
the sense that what your brain tells your body believes.
No doubt about it.
So you know, if you can help a person feel better and feel like they have a little more control over what's going on, and by exercising, and then they see results,
Yeah.
and then they say, "Gee, I feel good," and then your brain goes, "Okay, we feel good. Let's
Yeah.
feel good."
Well, it's nice when somebody hands you an honest compliment. You feel good inside. Even more important when you look in the mirror and tell yourself these things. It's really important because you believe yourself more than anything. So if you say, "Oh, I can never do this. I'm not good at this," you tell yourself negative things. Your body is listening and your mind is listening.
And
So-
believing.
exactly, and believing.
Because why would I tell myself a lie, you know?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we do that. We tell ourselves a story. So the key is to change your story, and that helps you stay young.
And that's where affirmations and things like that come in.
Exactly.
So you have something in the
Exactly.
morning, a little track to run on. I guess that's what the Lord's Prayer was meant to be, a little track to run on. Now, and of course, if you repeat something over and over again, it becomes dull. So that's why I never was in the camp of, the mainstream type of religions where they have these sayings that they say over and over. Let's come up with something new now and then, you know.
Yeah,
and
but-
I think it's meant to be good naturally, so it's cool.
And there is some mantras have a calming effect.
Indeed, they do.
You
And
know,
even
and-
just listening or counting your breaths or just listening to your breath or listening to the grasshopper at your feet.
And the key is to keep on learning.
Yeah.
Nobody knows everything, and no matter how good you are at what you're doing, whatever it might be, you can still learn,
Yep.
and and every time I teach a class, I learn as much as the students do because from their comments or from their interaction.
Stick around, folks, and learn a few more things. We'll be right back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
TFNN has developed a daily programming lineup for traders by traders. We start every trading day live at 8:30 a.m. with Tommy O'Brien hosting the morning market kickoff as he starts the day off by breaking down everything you need to know about what's going on for the trading day ahead. At 9 a.m., Larry Pesavento takes your calls and questions live on the air for the opening bell as he hosts Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the Bull Bear Trading Hour. At 11 a.m., it's Kevin Hinks and Alex Coffey from TD Ameritrade Network with Fast Market. Basil Chapman at noon with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Steve Rhodes hosts the Trader's Edge at 1 p.m. Dave White with the Power Trading Hour at 2 p.m. And Tom O'Brien closes out the day for the final hour of trading live from 3 till 4. Don't miss a second of our daily programming lineup. Tune in to Tiger TV every trading day live at TFNN.com. Educating investors.
I'd like to remind you that the chat room is alive and well here, and they're talking about scientists add that the virus is like the dry air, can't travel as far in humid conditions. Humidity can also affect the envelope protecting the virus, things like that.
So when we stepped outside this morning, we felt much better, right?
Yeah, we certainly did. Also, they say Roger Stone said that Bill Gates may have created the coronavirus to microchip people. That kind of seems like it. A Dutch newspaper reported Saturday that several cell towers have been vandalized, and that's happening also in Britain. So, thanks, guys.
Yeah, interesting. I was talking about continuing to learn as you go,
Yep.
you know, and I do what's called the practice of law. So we joke about it, you know, we'll practice till we get it right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but I also advocate practicing life.
Yeah.
You have to, change isn't good or bad inherently, it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's a matter, these are times of change and we have to deal with them and we have to find out what works and what doesn't work and make those choices. Continuing to feel like you make a difference in the world is very important, and that's why I'm still working, because I can still solve the problems. I can still make people say, I feel much better now that I talked to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. And Then there's two other things that are very, very important, and I want to leave you all with, and one of them is forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We all do things. You can't live in the past. The past can't be changed. All you can do is change going forward.
Yep.
And then number 10 in my list here is love yourself.
Important stuff, that's for sure.
You're worth it.
Yeah. And
You're all worth it.
These are some of the things that we always practice, and we practice some of it together, a lot of it alone, but we have the same philosophy in this, that we need to be very positive to ourselves, positive to each other. We have to bring that forward to our children and the people that we meet. This is why we do the things you do, and your job is actually more, I could consider it more a hobby for you. Because a hobby is something that you want to do and strive to get better at. And the same with me
And
in music.
enjoy and find relaxing,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
all of those things
Yep.
are for me. The job turned out to be a perfect job for my skill sets and my life.
Yeah, and you're my perfect mate, so it all works out
That's
really good.
right, it does.
Hey, thanks for sticking around, folks. So I'll see you next week. Appreciate
Be
it.
well.